out in the Kenyan market is what they have failed by producing a fertilizer that is deficient or plus or minus 3.
I would like to know from the distribution how they do the checkpoints and whether there is coding, whether they can be able to trace from the supplier and even to the farmer. So as the farmers complain, we can know what is genuine and not genuine. I would also want to know whether the ministry has a compensation, because farmers use their money to purchase. How do you compensate those farmers who got the fake? I don't know whether it's a fertilizer or soil enhancer. I am not so sure what it is. The other one, is he able to name, Chair? Is he able to name, and that is very specific, the supplier whose products have been flagged? Is he able to name for Kenyans to know? And then what steps is the ministry planning to do? Once you name the supplier, are you blacklisting or are you still going to do business with that supplier? And is it possible also for you to do a recommendation such that such a person who takes advantage of our innocent farmers will not be allowed to do any other supply in this country or do business with government? On your officers, I think I'd asked that question. What steps, if there are officers who didn't take the necessary steps, what steps are you taking on that officer, on the officers? And finally, on KEFIS, I've seen many shortcomings. What is you asking from this committee? If it's about the amendment of your acts, if it's about the staffing, we are the committee that is responsible on the budgeting and everything else. What are you asking from us? I think there are some staff I've seen, there are only 3 in the whole country. I think 1 in Kitale and 2 in Nairobi. So I would like to see a proper document from KEFIS on what they're asking from this committee. And finally, maybe our CS is on the local production. Have your team done a proper research on local production of fertilizers? Do we have to keep on importing? Do we have a plan? Because farmers will be here. We are now working on food security. Is it cheaper for us to do the production here? How did it cost? We have all the raw materials. What is your asking or your recommendation from this committee so that we can also be able to build Kenya and buy Kenya? Thank you.
Okay, over to Honorable Double N.
Thank you, Chair. And my question to the CS, it is evident that we have seen both the national and the county government distributing the subsidized fertilizer. So why the duplication of the same? And how can accountability be tracked at the 2 levels of government? The next question that I would ask is, why was SLDR International exempted from supplying fertilizer on consignment basis? Thank you.
Honorable Salasia, can you be preparing yours now?
Mine is on the issue of Kenya National Trading Corporation. You're all aware that the Ministry of Agriculture is well mandated to purchase the fertilizer. How did it come and arrive that you gave it that mandate to the Ministry of Trade under the National Trading? And if I may ask, who influenced it and under which interest? Because you can see, even if it means that you have to do, where are those experts? Because there must be some experts, like if it's the ministry, it's just like non-pharmaceuticals. You cannot just give it the mandate to anyone else to purchase. So unless maybe there was an interest in that business. And maybe if it's good, you should also tell the committee who advised you and under which influence. Then there is this point that why was a Kenya National Trading Company given the responsibility of processing payment for the subsidy component of the financial year 2022-2023 long range, when the money was budgeted under the State Department for Agriculture? How was that money accounted for? And maybe the last one that maybe I would wish to know, before this expose, when we were going around looking for the information for the sugar task force. We moved all around the country. And the report was very clear that the fertilizer that you are supplying was not good. Why did you just decided to keep quiet until today is when now you are trying to explain? It means that your experts are not doing what they are supposed to be doing. And then we have this one. How much did the NCPB charge as agency fee for each bag of GPC soil condition that was distributed by them? And if this thing was being done by 2022, then I've seen in your report, you are saying that you have come up with the policy in 2023. It's like it was like a scandal. Was it like a scandal just to get the money from Kenyans by just packaging the soil and selling to the Kenyans so that NCPB can get money to pay and maintain its whatever, pay its staff? Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Yes, my question is very simple. Was the analysis conducted by KPIS on the GPC soil conditioner before its distribution began? Another one is the Kenyan's currency has gained against major currencies in the world. Was it the impact of this on the prices of fertilizer? Can I repeat it again? The Kenyan's currency has gained against the major currencies in the world. Was it the impact of this on the prices of fertilizers?
I think you can ask your questions before I ask mine.
Okay, Chair. Oh, there's Odanga, but let me.
You have
Odanga, you have not introduced yourself.
Have you left me to the ministry, Chair?
You are around.
I'm Geoffrey Makoha Odanga, MP for Matayos, and member of the Agriculture and Livestock Committee.
You may ask your question now.
Thank you, Chair. I want to know from the PS, from the CS, from page 5 of his presentation, if Chiroma Fertiliser Limited, which is has supplied in every financial year, and Chiroma Fertilizer are one and the same company, or it's an error?
Okay, Yagon. Are you done? Odanga, are we with you or you are done?
I'm proceeding, Chair. I also would like to ask the CS if this failure to provide data by the ministry on the number of farmers who are supplied with the fertilizer, and also by NCPB somewhere, failure to do that again, if this is something that should be entertained by a serious ministry. Failure to provide data. And we know data is very critical in anything that we should be doing to be able to justify and satisfy the Kenyan public. Then, why was the NCPB hesitant to allow the KEBs initially to enter into their stores and do the analysis? You know, initially that is what we were told here by KEBs, and then NCPB really denied that. They take a very long route writing letters, and that. Why would that happen in an issue that is so critical like this one? Thank you.
Okay, Chair. I have a few questions. I'd ask one, and I want to ask the CS. There has been a pronouncement by the ministry giving different signals. The CS says there is no fake fertilizer circulating, and the PS is withdrawing some fertilizer which is fake, like Kale Chemical, just the other day. We want you to appraise us of that, because we need to know what is the real position. Number two, in all this, farmers have actually, in all this drama of supply of fake fertilizer, some farmers have lost. And this is a common question that we need to answer before we move out of this committee room today. Who will compensate farmers who tilled the land, who bought certified seeds, who went to NCPB stores and bought these fake fertilizers? Who will compensate the farmer? Because that is what we want to know before we move out of this committee room today. And I know from the records, especially those that we sold through NCPB stores, the SPL Innovate fertilizer, the KL chemical fertilizer, we are able to trace and know how many farmers bought these fake fertilizers. We've been able to get reports from different government officials. Moses Kuria has pronounced himself of the number of fake fertilizer that we have. I had the PS also to talk about some numbers. I had also even the Deputy President gave a figure. We want to know the exact number of bags that are fake and that has been in circulation.
Okay, let me just try to wrap up a bit. First of all, there has been a hue and cry on the shortage of fertilizer. Many parts of the country did not receive their amounts in the adequate, quantities that they would consider for their planting season. So what formula does the ministry use to distribute the fertilizer to different parts of the country, and how has it worked over time? And is the fertilizer procured by the government sufficient to satisfy the needs of the Kenyans, or rather to cushion the difference? Let me also go back to the issue of local production. The language of local production has been in the air, and is something that we need to revisit. We are praying that soon we will not be confronted with a budgetary allocation for a local production facility. We would like the CS to give us the cost and benefit analysis of a local production of fertilizer. Do we have sufficient deposits of the raw materials? Can we actually produce at low cost, or can we benefit from local production when we know that we have serious deficits of rock phosphate in this country? Then the other issue that probably you need to mention is the money. Yes, you're rightfully saying that NCPB is not supported through Exchequer. We shall check that. But we would like to see how the money that NCPB has been receiving has also been utilized. We would like to see the audit and accounts of NCPB. Then the other issue is the close monitoring that NCPB says it does. It does a close monitoring, inspection of fertilizers and testing of fertilizers. With this close monitoring, inspection and testing, you mean they could not know that dolomite doesn't have any active ingredient for any crop production in this country, which is the product that they have been distributing from SPL Innovate. Now, there are some annexes that, if you look at Annex 1C and Annex 1D, it shows that some centers in this country did not receive fertilizer. What could be the reason? You see, subsidy is supposed to cut across the country. It's supposed to balance out everyone. There are some centers, which are distribution centers, they were not supplied as per your report. Could we know the reasons why they were not supplied? And we know before NCPB did arrive at that contract to distribute the product from SPL Innovate, there must have been exchanges. We will be interested because there were conversations that basically preceded that. Well, we have heard about the challenges of KEFIS. You also said that you are doing something about KEFIS, and you also added more challenges on KEFIS. We would like to know the extent to which what you are trying to do will alleviate the challenges within KEFIS. And finally, you spoke about being able to access resources from Treasury, or rather prevailing upon Treasury, thanking Treasury for supporting in the fertilizer subsidy issue. We have an analysis to do on the amount of money given to you and the amount of money that has paid for the fertilizer. Those figures we will need a straightforward answer, as I said earlier, so that we can know how much of that has been, used for the purpose. Now, you seem to be so concerned about airing of the unscored and censored expose. Why is it so when KEPS has proved that GPC soil conditioner was substandard? Why is the concern? KEPS is a gatekeeper as well as a technical agent in this country. What is your interest in this matter, given that you're only a distributor of the same product as NCPB? Why is NCPB trying to play down, to water down this issue? Thank you.
Chair, the peddlers and the vendors of the fake fertilizer thing, we've not seen any real action having been taken so far. What? Yes.
Finally, there is fertilizer outside India. I don't know who has dropped fertilizer. I think it would be good for us to see what it is. The President Adams tells me there's a bag of fertilizer outside India. Let's see which brand it is.
Chair.
Chairman, I don't know whether it's my chance to speak. So many questions have been raised, and I will do my best to answer them. And let me, first of all, Chairman, start by saying, yes, I appreciate the Treasury. Not on the money. I think they appreciate and certainly Treasury support for giving us money to employ staff to build the capacity. KEFIS. So we're in the process of recruiting members of staff for hapo tuone ni gani. Now just put it down there. So, Chairman, I want to be very, very candid. And there are things I will not personally accept when they are not correct and they are not right. And I want all the cameras to face me, right? And I want to say, my ministry is the only institution that is able to tell you whether how many bags of fertilizer are out there or not, because number one, any money that we use to pay for this program comes to the ministry, and we transfer money to National Cereals and Produce Board. And you are aware that our redemption of fertilizer is done through an e-voucher. We have depots across the country, and we have a proper record of how many bags of fertilizer are sold or are taken in every county, in every day, and I get a report. So I would not want to engage on issues or stories that have come from an expose, contents which I do not know, contents which I have not verified, and the bag that is in front of us, Chair, is not in our subsidy program. I have said we have not spent money. I also want to see it, Zainabu, because this is the first time I am seeing it. And if this is what you are calling fertilizer, then it is not fertilizer from where I sit. And this is not what my ministry is distributing. So we will treat the person who has come with this bag like any other criminal who is distributing fertilizer, because this is now the exhibit. This is the first time I'm getting an exhibit, even from, I'm being very honest. Yeah.
Point of order, Chair. Who has come with this bag?
You know, it's good to know who has brought this thing.
Yeah, it is important.
We need to know who it is. Bag of fertilizer.
The person who brought can come in. If they're outside, why is he?
And,
let him come in and explain where
the
he bought
company
it.
he comes from.
Who brought the fertilizer?
They are coming. It's outside. Let the person
Let us
come
be
in.
tuned. So, Chairman,
this fertilizer is not the one that KEFIS said is substandard, and it was actually being disputed by NCPB.
Chairman, let me tell you, I do not want to react, comment on information I do not have. The results presented, if any, to this committee by KEPS, I don't have them. I do not have them. So I am seeing this bag here. So if this is what KEPS brought, or the certificates you have from KEPS, looking at it, I am telling you, this is not the fertilizer, it's not within the fertilizer subsidy program that I am running. So it is not mine, it is not in the program. Unless, if this is what I have told you, there is an agency, a commercial agreement that was entered between NCPB and SBL in 2022. I have not had a chance to see it. So if this is the one, then we will discuss it on the basis that this is the product that SBL Synovate, no, it's not Synovate, SBL Innovate is selling through our distribution infrastructure.
Point of order, Chair.
So,
I just want to take CS on your presentation, CS on page 9. Page 9 on your answers. I just want to read what you said. 51 Capital K Limited provide, I want to go down a bit. The state certificate and standardization mark are the same contracting the services 51K and was varied. It was that this review that NCPB signed agency agreement with 51 Capital, African Diatomite Industries on 31/03/2022 for supply and distribution of PC diatomaceous on the understanding the product is organic and sold as soil conditioner, which was annexed for this is GPC.
That is GPC.
So this might be what is being called the soil conditioner, this one.
that's what I'm saying, Chair.
Maybe point of order. Point of order, Chair. Chair, we have a bag that nobody knows how it landed here. Can we get the owner? Where is the owner?
He's coming.
Because the ministry is saying they don't know. The ministry that has brought. So the CS, can you own up your product? Or
Chairman, let me probably, I said, I admit that there is a commercial contract What I have seen is that I have never seen it, and this took place even before I went into office. But since we are lucky, and we have and I have seen this is not the fertilizer within our subsidy program. But if this is the product that SBL is distributing, and we have the MD here, then it is necessary for him to shine the light and tell us.
Before he shines light, Honorable CS, who is the gentleman, be spectacle, this one behind you? Can he stand and identify himself? Are you not the one who has brought this product here? From? Okay, so now it is from NCPB, so NCPB can speak.
Yes, but Kimoda, we've been asking and you're not turning up.
The product that KEBS tested and qualified is called SBL GPC Original. SBL GPC Original, and they have the analytic of that particular product, which qualified to be an organic product. Now, this particular product here is what is being distributed, which means whether it is 51 Capital African Diatomite Industries or the SBL Innovate, or whoever it is, took one product to KEBS for analysis. That product was analyzed and approved as an organic product because they know the active ingredients and the percentage of organic matter. They approved it and gave it the mark of quality. They took the mark of quality and they produced a totally different product with a name that is close to the other one, which is GPC Original Plus organic product, which is this one. And this is the product that NCPB has been distributing. The thousands of metric tons you are talking about are for this product, which is not the product that was approved by Kenya Bureau of Standards. So we are asking, how do you work with KEBS? How does your monitoring? What does KEFIS say about some of this product and go for 2 years? Yes, we appreciate it was done in the other administration, but this administration has also distributed this product for 1.5 years.
Chair, maybe the MD for KEFIS can tell us this product. I'm seeing a lot of sanitary towels coming in. I don't know whether our life is in danger.
Let's note that it's not really relevant here. CS, over to you.
Chairman, I think let me say this so that we can raise this matter. Because, I was also struggling to know what it is because I've not had the advantage of seeing it before. But since it is here, I say this is a case whereby once you are caught the pants down, you must own up. And Chairman, without even really having to belabor so much on the basis of the information that you are sharing, Kenyan Bureau of Standards, having certified a certain quality for distribution through for distribution by this manufacturer, and the manufacturer, after the attainment of the quality standards and the relevant certificates for him to continually to do business, the expectation from Kenyan Bureau of Standards, and even I think from the expectation of NCPB, was that the manufacturer will really live to or be honest enough to ensure that the product certified is what is available in the market. So by his either act of omission, negligence, willfully, making sure or producing a different product that does not conform to the agreed standards, in my view, is criminal, is theft, and this person belongs to jail. What we need to do is, because now of what has happened, is give this matter to the necessary investigative agencies and be able to do a good job so that the people or the manufacturer is really brought to book. I am happy that now the exhibit is with us. And I don't know whether the investigating agencies will also be able to get the correct exhibit and be able to have it properly analyzed for purposes of good evidence. Mutwin, because we have our lab, we have to take this as a sample. We also have to scoop and carry something so that our lab is also able to test and see how we can be able to compare. But Chairman, I agree, and I would really want to, or really on behalf of my ministry, I really say this is not something that really should have really happened. You are diligent enough. I've been very rough on this character called Nyamo on this thing because I never knew what he was talking about. And I only want to make the right, let us make the right communication to the public. Number one, this is not the fertilizer that we are distributing within the subsidy program, so that we don't mix issues, because we cause panic to the farmer, right? But this is a product that was being distributed because we have an unscrupulous, greedy business person who does not want to conform to standards and give supply of the product that was so satisfying, and for that matter is criminal, must be dealt with according to the law. That's what I would want to say about this, Chairman.
I would like us to agree on something with reasons. Let us take the products that were sampled from the NCPB stores by KEBS. I want to hold this product suspect, and I'll tell you why. If you look at the texture of this product, it looks like an organic product. It has organic matter. If you look at the texture of the product that KEBS described to us, it has less than 15% organic matter. So it doesn't qualify as an organic fertilizer. Which means, then the other issue is, when KEBS went, the KEBS are in record as having gone to NCPB and they were barred from picking samples. This is a government institution coming for samples, and they're told you are not official enough unless you go and come with a written letter. I don't know. They went and got a written correspondence and came and picked samples and analyzed those samples, and they have the results. The results indicate that what has been packaged and continuously distributed is the atomite from Kariandushi. There is no formula that it has not been changed. It's just picking, packaging, bagging, and distributing and selling through NCPB. So I think this product here is suspect. Let us take the samples that KEBS raided from the NCPB stores. The reason why I say that is, why were they banned in the first place from accessing the stores of NCPB?
Again, Professor Mudui, we want to know, since you told us you take annual surveillance of 500 samples, it's more than a year, and we want to know, did you do, since these people signed an agreement, have you done any periodic analysis on this particular fertilizer, the original plus fertilizer GPC?
Chair. Thank you, Waziri. At least that was what I wanted to hear from my Waziri, and I think it is well answered. We leave it to the authorities that are competent enough to tell us what is happening. At least now we are in the same wavelength in terms of moving in one direction. The only thing that is remaining is the issue of the other one, the Kale Green. if you come up forthright on that, then tuseme hallelujah bas. Tuanze kufukuza wakora. Kel Green. Is it Kel Green? The 2610, yeah. Okay.
Someone, Chair, now that this is now past us, and I will continually insist that we must really, even the media must correct, must do the right reporting, right? This is not the fertilizer under my subsidy program. We have, however, been able to find that out of that contract, commercial contract that was done, a company that was allowed to sell through our distribution network decided to make something that was different. So, Chairman, let me mention this because I think it's just the best thing that we can do for our country. Why this story is so complicated in its own way, even getting to know exactly where the truth is because it has very many people purporting to be experts and to know things that they don't know. And you know, he who knows not and knows not that he doesn't know, then knows not. So, Chairman, why I'm making this, why this background is Mheshimiwa Kibagendi asked a question which I did not answer. Fake fertilizer, why now after a bumper harvest? It's a question that you cannot really wish away because the truth of the matter is that the farmers have had a lot of confidence with this program, and the program has been very, very successful. There is also another member who said, and are you really ruling out the possibility of the maize importers trying to sabotage our program so that there is opportunity for less production and then open room for imports? The answer is you cannot rule it out. The other issue that has not arisen is fertilizer business is multi-billion business. There are people that never got the tender last time. Probably they are not very comfortable now. The others that are whose fertilizer has not come, and we're almost getting to the end of season, and the planting season, especially in the south and north rift, and probably they won't cause confusion. You also cannot rule it out unless proper investigations have been done for us to ascertain the truth of what is flying out there. But from where I sit and from my hand, and I'm happy that we will be able to raise this matter because the matter now we hand it over, and I'm even told as we sit here that fellow is at the DCI and doing statements. I probably won't be able to give the correct evidence and deal with him firmly because this is purely criminal. So what I want to assure the country is that within our subsidy program and the information I have from NCPB is that KEBS never went to pick any samples from them. They have never denied anybody from picking samples. And I think it has the necessary legal instruments to enforce surveillance or seizure of products out there that they want to go for testing or for on compliance. So what, in my view, we really need to ask ourselves is whether the whole story out there is honest. And that is why I was carrying my expert, who Sabina is really opposed to giving her presentation, because from a scientific point of view, we may be able to understand what fertilizer is all about. what composes a good fertilizer, because crops require certain nutrients. And most of the fertilizer that we have out there, we realize the major components are nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. The percentages of potassium, nitrogen, and nitrogen will vary from one composition to another. That's why you find farmers who always go for, they will tell you we want 23, 23. Many people don't know it. But 23 is a percentage of nitrogen, right, in that fertilizer against the potassium, and the other element is 0. But certain crops, Mutunga will better understand these things as well, because crops will require different types of major nutrients. And this nitrogen, of course, it has its own needs in the plant, because this is what supports the leafing, the green leafing of the plant. The phosphorus is good for root development. The potassium is the one that makes plants create immunity. But as long as those items or those components or compounds are in the fertilizer, then the fertilizer, the plants are good to go. The lack, and this is where I want to really to emphasize, and I'll ask Mutui to explain by use of scientific language, which I may not have. When we accept to buy a certain particular fertilizer, it's based on a certain standard. And there are different standards. We have Kenyan standards, we have East African standards, and that is what is used to really check on compliance or conformity of quality of that particular fertilizer. And this is the example I want to give. If the fertilizer that is supposed to have 26 parts of nitrogen, and it's tested, and it's found not to have 26, but as 22, so as 22, as 23, as 24. As phosphorus of not 10, but as 12 or 13 or 14. And potassium and other micronutrients are there. Does that make it fake? That's the question that we need to be answering. Every fertilizer must have what we call a filler material. It carries, that is what's used to support that fertilizer. So when people see certain material in that bag, at times we now start saying, will have their own reasons why they will say it's fake or it's not. But this can only be determined by a lab, people that know, to explain what it is. So simply what I am saying is that within our news distribution network, we do not have fertilizer that you would say is fake. What CARE has found is the standard. The standard set out in the Kenyan market is what they have found by producing a fertilizer that has a deficient or plus or minus 3 of the standard. So, and that problem can correct it in the second phase of application of fertilizer, especially at the time of top dressing. So it is not waste. It is not that the plants cannot be able to accommodate or to consume the nutrients provided by that particular fertilizer. But you see, this thing came together with this expose you are referring to, and has really mixed and confused everyone, and everybody has carried out there, or everybody else, a farmer wants to make himself an expert. And this is what has really brought a lot of confusion, and I want to assure the farmer. And another question was asked, by the way, I don't know whether it is Mheshimiwa who asked, whether our suppliers or manufacturers are able to identify where the problem arose from, how many. The answer is yes, because there is no distributor, there is no supplier of fertilizer who does not give us the number of bags is supplying, the batch, and we are able to trace and to know even where within our distribution network where that fertilizer was delivered. So it is possible. And for this committee to really be properly appraised, the story to read whatever figures you hear out there from anyone with the contempt that they deserve. The true position of the number of bags of fertilizer that were the batch that did not meet the standard. Yeah, the standard is 3,000 bags. The 3,000 bags, we've been able to identify them. We are ready to ensure we do a follow-up of the farmers that bought the 3,000 fertilizers, although we have reckoned it from the market. We have asked the farmers.
Waziri, 3,000 bags is from KEL Chemical,
yes,
SPL
correct.
Innovate, or
it's
which
not, Brighton, please. SMPL Innovate is not a fertilizer that I know within my program. So what I'm explaining is my fertilizer within the subsidy program. I have told this is a criminal which we must also start working to deal with immediately and from now, so that we really do not get confused. So the 3,000 bags of the fertilizer are the ones from KEL. We have the batch number. We know the quantities. We know where they went. So our appeal to the farmer, and because we have also withdrawn it, is for the meantime, those that got it, either warundishe, or in the next phase of application of fertilizer, we won't be able to advise what more of the fertilizer they need to add, especially at the top dressing level. So that if the phosphorus was low or the nitrogen, then they will apply more of the next phase of the top dressing fertilizer. So Chair, let me ask, please allow me to explain, to ask him, Professor, Enrique.
Kidogo to before that, Kidogo, a point of order. You know, CS, I agree with you. On this one, we are through. On this other one, maybe what I needed to know, CS, sorry. There was a statement that was released from your ministry on 5th of April 2024. Do you have a copy? A press release that was released on 5th of April 2024 on KEL Green fertilizer, on the tests that were found, and they found that the KEL Green, the 102610, did not meet the specification that is for the manufacture from 5th to 10th of March 2024, and we had taken the action that was taken is that the factory was closed. All the fertilizer, because now you are talking about 3,000, but from this statement is that all the fertilizer for KEL Green are supposed to be withdrawn, and the farmers are supposed to go to cereals so that they can get the compensation that they need. But from what you are presenting, it seems to be part. And the other question, I am an IT professional. I'm not a chemical. Is it chemical? I'm not a chemical scientist, but I believe this is produced through a factory. It is not collecting manure and things like that. So it goes through a process that has been approved. Why is it that the same factory with the same setting will produce a patch that does not meet the specification for which the license was given by KEBS? Because at the end of the day, we have no worry, PS, if, sorry, this is confusing, no PS and CS. We have no worry if you pick your organic fertilizer from, sometimes you can pick it from goats, sometimes we can pick it from cows, but this is from a factory. So we expect this factory, once it is approved, it will be releasing the same results because there will be a control experiment. How is it that this factory was able to produce different things from the same factory? How did it come about? You know, it brings a lot of issues. And I wish where I'm sitting, because I really want us to work together, is that let's go as per your press release. It was a very good press release. Let's disown the this scale green thing, and let the proceedings, as you had indicated, the legal proceedings, as you had indicated in the press release, move forward, so that at the end of the day we have closure. That's the same way we have had closure to this. But if you explain so many details, it releases a lot of eyebrows, because we have a factory. It is not a kienyeji factory. It is not a chuakali. We give the same chemicals. It gives you the same result.
Chairman, number one, that the press release you are talking about, number one, I need to admit I do not have it myself. On the 5th, I was in Central African Republic. I've been out of the country for the last 1 week. I came yesterday early morning. So the contents of the release are not very clear in my mind, but I want to thank the officers. See that my officers from the ministry, because I don't carry the office, decided, and the network and the timing, there were issues, decided to arrest the issue by trying to explain the situation as is. Then I really appreciate their coming in and stepping in towards dealing with the matter. So where probably I may require to add more information or to get properly appraised on it, when I leave here, I'll go to the office, because since last week I've not been to the office, Chairman, and that at least I am happy that they really indeed stepped in at the right time to deal with that particular issue. The story about how a factory may produce a different substance is, in my view, a very technical area. And I will continue insisting, Chairman, that we give Professor Mutui an opportunity, because we also require to be enlightened. I also need to know. You see, now I'm talking about things that I'm always told. So please, let's have the benefit of having a knowledgeable professor in that particular area of plant physiology and space to explain to us what this means, because you may be looking at them and we may not know what it is. So let us please give us only 2-3 minutes for Professor to really assist me this.
No problem. Let Professor do this. Professor, can you declare to Kenyans the difference between an organic fertilizer and a soil conditioner? And if a substance is approved by KEBS as an organic fertilizer and is sold as a soil conditioner, what kind of situation are you throwing ourselves into? And the CS, your report talks about a conditioner, when KEBS talked about organic. Yes. So we are talking of 2 different products, and I told you there is a risk. Those 2 products, one can clear the other if you are not very careful. So, Professor, please tell
Chair,
parents.
please, before the Professor. Chair. On the same, one of my constituents is asking, was the soil conditioner marked as such, so that the buyer or farmer knows that he or she is buying a soil conditioner and not a fertilizer?
It is here. This is how it was marked. This one. There is nowhere where you have soil conditioner. It is, the language is coming in soil conditioner to try and do some cleansing. Professor, tell Kenyans.
Chair, I just wanted to clear that I was not against the knowledge from Professor. I was just worried about turning this meeting into an agricultural class, which is okay. And as he explains, because now he's the expert, part of what we saw in the media, we saw some stones. There was, I think, some also products from some quarry. There was also some the goat's organic manure. So as you explain to us, maybe you tell us whether that is part of the concoction that makes either the soil conditioner or the organic fertilizer.
Maybe something just to add, the professor. No, Professor, you will tell us whether the same approved factory settings can produce different results given the same chemicals.
Thank you, Chair.
Please be brief. We don't want you to take us to class of...
Okay, thank you, Chair. My name is Professor Theophilus Mutui, the Managing Director for KEFIS. First, we said KEFI's mission is to assure plant health, quality of agricultural produce, agricultural input and produce. What is agricultural input? This includes seed, fertilizer, and pesticides. Pesticide could be insecticides, fungicide, and so on. So it's a group of chemicals. I want to go back to our law. Our KEFI's Act of 2012 provides in section 5D provides that KEFI's will establish service laboratories to monitor the quality in agro inputs, irrigation water, plants, soils, and produce. So we have established service labs. We provide service to farmers, to government agencies, to anybody at a fee. So ours is to provide service. If you bring a fertilizer, we are able to analyze it for you. If you bring for seed, the same. Pesticide, the same. But I want to make a distinction here. For seed, we have Seed and Plant Varieties Act, which we implement. If we find that the seeds do not meet the requirements of purity germination, we take somebody to court, because that law is enforced by KEFI's. When it comes to fertilizer, it is not KEFI's. There's no law where it says KEFI's do this. So when we find that there's non-compliant fertilizer, we will write a brief to the CS. When the pesticides are not meeting requirements, there's a law which enforces that called Pest Control Products Board. That's the agency, and their law is able to do that. If we have tested and found that maize has got GM ingredient, National Biosafety Authority is the one to take that person to court using our results. So our results are credible because we have said we have 2 labs, an analytical chemistry lab, which are accredited by KENAS. Accreditation means that there is a set protocol which we follow. So every lab which is accredited and follows the same protocol will get the same results. Just the same way you said, if there's a setting, a standard for a particular fertilizer, and you put all the ingredients as per that protocol, you are supposed to get the same thing. But if you don't put everything as per the protocol, if you decide to put less or more, most likely less to save on cost, it will not be compliant. So that is very important. I want just to say 2 issues on KEFI's which I mentioned, and then try to elaborate something about fertilizers. One, it's true that KEFI's monitors for fertilizers from agrovets, stockists. We don't do the one for government subsidy. Why? Because if the fertilizer was being imported, for example, at the point of entry, KEBS should have taken a sample and assured that it meets the requirement or the standards, Kenyan standard. Now, when it comes, it goes to NCPB. NCPB is a government agency, and from there, it is distributed to farmers. And we trust what has been tested by KEBS, given to NCPB, distributed to farmers is good. So, Chair, that is what I want to say. We have not tested any fertilizer for substance. But any other fertilizer, DAP, CNN, CAN, and so on, being sold through agrovets and stockists, we do sampling. We don't have much budget.
Clarify this.
Yes, Chair.
If NCPB is distributing a certain fertilizer, not through the subsidy program, are you barred by any regulation or act not to test that particular substance and confirm that it fits within the quality requirements?
Chair, we are not barred, and I'm pleased to say that we tested the produce, the products from NCPB, and by and large they were compliant, the samples they brought to us. So we are not barred from doing that. But I was saying in our normal surveillance, which we have talked about here, is for agrovets and stockists. And that's why my CS was saying I can take a sample and analyze and give results which are credited. So committee, the 500 I've clarified, is from dealers out there to ensure that they comply. Some do not comply and we give the results to the CS. Other, by and large, most of them comply. The issue of the what Kefis was asking, for us to be able to do a national monitoring of fertilizer, that is a big exercise, requires money because there is analysis, there are chemicals to be used for digestion. We require enhanced budget. This committee can be able to vote for money, and you hold us to account if we don't do a large sample, because we would have, if we had the resources, we would have done it. If the same government also wanted us to do the same for them and give us money, we can do that, because the budget we have cannot be able to do that. We only get 120 million from the government. So that is the request, and of course, enhanced staff capacity and equipment. Having said that, let me just explain briefly the issues with what Chairman said. What is the organic, the difference between organic fertilizer and soil amendment? There are two types of fertilizers, organic and inorganic. In another language, it's called chemical and non-chemical. When you use manure or compost or maize stoppers or wheat stoppers, you plow them inside. That is organic fertilizer. Because once it decomposes, it will give you nitrogen, it could give phosphorus and potassium and calcium and others. So organic fertilizer is the one originating from plant or animal, while inorganic or chemical fertilizers is originating from chemical, could be from the manufacturing plant or from natural sources, like a rock which contains those nutrients. So that is the difference. What the chair said is a soil amendment. Soil amendments are used for three purposes. One is if the soil is pH, soil has acidity, it can be acidic or alkaline. So if the soil is acidic, the pH ranges from 1 to 14. 1 to 7 is acidic. 8 above 7 is alkaline. 7 is neutral. So if it's below 7 is acidic, we add something called lime. That lime is soil amendment to be able to increase the soil pH from low towards 7, which is neutral. If the soil, acidic soil occurs in areas which receive a lot of rainfall, I can assure you, Honorable Brighton, in your area, the soil is acidic because of high rainfall, Kitale, and so on. Some fertilizers like DAP have been shown to increase acidity, and so the soil has to be given lime to raise the pH. That is one amendment. The second amendment is to lower the pH if it's alkaline. That amendment is called gypsum. Gypsum is added to the soil to reduce the pH or to reduce the soil pH from alkaline to neutral.
It's because a list of distributors in the country are beyond 100 agrovets. So the NCPB channel is just one out of the over 100 which list we have, which really are supplied. So I want to admit they could be out there, but we from NCPB, whatever we earned in our stores, we really asked the manufacturer to quickly pick it up, but to endeavor to ensure that we pass the necessary information to the farmer. And this is not the fertilizer that is within our program. Sabina, your advice is well taken, but I also want to assure the farmers of this country that I have been very diligent. Once a product is released there, you never know who will go to use it. And I'm being very firm because the problem I'm having now here is a problem I had with the farmers in the last season. Immediately I went to office because they were asking for DAP. it took me months and meetings to explain to them why we could not give them DAP. And now they came to agree with us after the harvest. That's why similarly, even this particular stage we are in, despite the challenge we have, I want to assure the farmers we have good fertilizer. The fertilizer that we are distributing is okay. And Chairman, to demonstrate what I am telling you, I want to read you a letter which I wrote on the 20th of December, 20th of December, to the National Cereals and Produce Board under my signature. Immediately, the tender for supply of fertilizer was given. I wrote to them, and the reference was the supply of planting fertilizer for the year 2024. And I told them, I am aware the process of selection of qualified vendors to supply fertilizer for the long rain season of 2024 is at an advanced stage. There is therefore need to ascertain the quality and composition of fertilizers before delivery to ensure that farmers get the right fertilizer to suit their planting requirements and boost agricultural productivity. The purpose of this letter is therefore to request you to ask the suppliers to confirm in writing the fertilizer chemical composition they will supply before delivery. This is a measure to ensure there is full compliance before delivery. You are required to furnish me with the details before delivery of the fertilizers. So, Chairman, in December, in my own wisdom, I said, no, we cannot just wait for farmers, for suppliers to just bring in fertilizer there. I want them to give us the chemical composition, just in case there is such a problem. Then we are able to test what they produce or what they deliver vis-a-vis the sample that was tested in December. So that's the mechanism, the seriousness I hold this matter, Chair, and we will not want to anybody to play around or joke with it. And anybody that falls short of the standards or requirements of duty, then we'll have to deal with it. But Chair, please, we stand with us. We do not want, once again, Salashia, the farmers of this country to get mixed up in this saga of SMBL, confusing it with the fertilizer, and then creating panic. And we are here because of the panic, some of us, and we became overreactive, and then we are in a situation which was almost going out of control. But I'm happy with the understanding of this committee and the farmers there, where this is being managed. And when DK has asked when we expect the next consignment of fertilizer, you know, today is the 8th. When the last time I had a meeting with all the fertilizer suppliers, there's SLDR and confirmed that we'll be supplying his fertilizer by today, the 8th. But you see what is happening in the ICs and the problems are there. The report now I have is that it's coming between on the 12th and 13th, which is supposed to be next week. It's around next week. But we've had a lot of support from another supplier. And DK, we have really trying, because from my records, number one, Uashinigishu has received 500,000 bags up to maybe yesterday, over 500,000 bags. So if there is also need, we'll just be able to mobilize whatever else we can be able to raise, and then we'll make sure that before end of week, it must be there.
Maybe just on that subject, CS, there is this fertilizer that are in cereals, the Yara. I know it is going at an higher price, but there was a caveat. CS, there was a caveat. Excuse CS, maybe because it's a serious matter. There is this fertilizer of Yara that cereals was stocking, although the price was a bit higher, and there was a caveat that it should not be sold. If at all we have the challenge, and it seems to be pushing to around next week for purposes of the other consignment coming in, have you thought maybe of releasing the Yara fertilizer, even if it is at 3,000, so that farmers that are in an emergency, they don't go to the market to buy it at 6,000. Instead, they get from Sirius at maybe 3,000 or 3,500.
Chairman and DK, this government committed that fertilizer will be bought at 2,500. The fertilizer component, the subsidy component, and you are aware because you're in this committee, you know it's 1850. So the total cost of the fertilizer is 4350. So when you ask me to allow or to ask Yara to bring in fertilizer in our distribution channel, you are telling me to tell the country that my boss or this government committed the sale of fertilizer at 2,500. Now we have raised it. That will not work. If there is any farmer who wants to buy that fertilizer from Yara, you know, Yara can use his other channels or agrovets and store his fertilizer there. We have no control of who will buy from the agrovets. But any fertilizer that comes through the NCPB channel or any other store that government is distributing fertilizer through, then the mass and the farmer can only pay 2,500, or unless now you want us to start another conversation where we are being told or we will be hit left, right, and center by politicians and people saying that the government did not keep its one. It will not happen under my watch. No, fertilizer 2,500, wherever kapande mahindi. If you want, because you are rich, you can go and buy from there.
Chair.
Okay, I think we need to go towards closing.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I want to say that Kenyan farmers need to be protected, whether they are going to consume the fertilizer through the subsidy program or through the other means. All of them must get the fertilizer that is fit for production. And to say that a fertilizer is substandard and therefore we keep quiet and wait for amending it or that kind of thing, I think that is not right. Let us get fertilizer whose composition is right for planting and for top dressing. I think that rests squarely with you, Waziri. And if the two agencies, KEFIS and KEBS, have challenges, those challenges need to be addressed by you, Waziri. If they don't have enough personnel, if they don't have funds like the KEFIS director, MD said, let it come out clearly. But for us to sit and have farmers get the wrong fertilizer or fertilizer that does not meet the standard, that really stops at your doorstep, Bwana Waziri, and we want you to really take the cow by the horns.
Chairman, there's a question that I did not answer, and I think it's important. I think you are the one who used the question on whether we have, in the near future, going to produce fertilizer in the country. And Chairman, I want to say that we've had quite some challenge. We're already talking to investors, and we almost getting to Naivasha because we have natural gas in Naivasha. You know, the cost of production of fertilizer requires, the cost of power is really quite high for industrial fertilizer production. That is one of the challenges. And we also lack sufficient minerals or material, natural material enough, with enough contents of nitrogen, potassium, and nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. That is one of the other problem that we have. But we are trying to see what we can be able to do. But I am also happy to report that we have already making ground. We've almost, in another few days, 13 days, max of 45, we'll be breaking down ground for the establishment of a fertilizer factory here in Kenya, in Kajiado. And this is a factory that will produce the organic fertilizer we are talking about. We have an investor from Burundi, and who is one of the suppliers of the Fomi Otesha, Fomi Kusha, Fomi Nenepesa. And he's already setting up in Kajiado to really produce this fertilizer, which I think we've used and it looks good. So if we were able to do it, then in the next 18 months, we must be able to get our fertilizer from within the country. Probably what I would ask is farmers or anybody else now to be able to produce, to assist them get the raw material. The raw material required is cow dung. So when Andike or anybody else who wants to trade in business, we can always link you up with the investor so that you produce enough cow dung, which you'll be able to get and take Wanjando. And then we have enough raw material to do fertilizer production that is organic. That is the truth. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, PS. Okay. That one, with gratitude, we shall really supply. Yeah.
Okay, let's close this meeting. And to close, there are one or two things that probably that are still hanging out. There is something that the CS said about KEFIS having no regulatory function. But when I listen to KEFIS, you work with many other institutions. It means having a regulatory function, you will have to invoke all the others. So is it really a direction to go? That's something. And the other one is the government handling subsidy vis-a-vis using the industry players to handle the subsidy. Has the ministry thought of using the fertilizer importers and distributors and intervene through various mechanisms to reduce the cost so that we don't get directly involved, so that the National Cereals and Produce Board sticks to their mandate, because their mandate is not really to distribute fertilizer. Their mandate is to distribute in grade management. So is there any thought within the ministry in the near future that you could be considering going that direction? And I think the final one is, are we taking another date for clarity of the few issues that you need to clarify? There is also the issue of KEFI submitting the amendments to the Act that make them effective in their own. Are there any amendments? I think you have amendments coming up.
Yeah,
so
we have an amendment to the KEFIS Act is pending at Cabinet.
Okay.
Yeah, there is something we've not agreed with the Minister of Environment on the matter to do with the seed definition. Yeah, so we are almost there. We have a meeting next week. So once it's sorted out, we'll bring it to you people. So the other thing is whether we would want to leave NCPB to deal with the issue of green handling. Not in the near future. We will not want to let this fertilizer business that easily. And the reason is the probability of conspiracy is very high amongst the traders in this business, and they can easily own us to ransom and take full advantage of the customers of our farmers, and hence reducing our ability to produce enough food. Chairman, I somehow got persuaded by the fertilizer producers association. There is an association of fertilizers people around, and we had a meeting last week, but one, which their chair raised before a meeting, or round-table meeting between us and the president, the Kenya Association of Manufacturers. And our position is not for now, because here you can see fertilizer was retailing at 7,500. We have now come in, and we are at now 4,300 inclusive of the subsidy. We have reduced the price by 2,700. So if allowed for now, before we become stable, then they can easily mess us. So, Chairman, we want to be indulged for now, until everything has been, until everything is placed. We have allowed players like the ones that are coming local to produce here. Then we can really evaluate the situation as we move on, but ensuring that our supply in terms of food is not really distracted.
There are a few issues that we are saying have not been properly dealt with, and one of them is what Salasia asked. Am I forgetting it? There is an issue that I think was not dealt with. I'm not remembering very well. Among the questions that Salasia asked. So are we likely to have another meeting to round up? And the reason why we are calling for this meeting and picking a date here is because we want this matter done with. The issue is we need to have caves there, and you have NCPB producing their documents. We have documents for caves all bound here, including the certificate issued to this person, this person who is distributing whatever. The documents for NCPB are not there, so we would like them to produce their documents, and then we can look at what came first, what led to what, so that we see who is messing up the equation here, because somebody is playing some monkey tricks somewhere. So that is one thing. And then the other issue that the other issues that have been left unanswered, because like the annexes and so on, we need to see them. I don't know when we can have a roundup, maybe for 1 or 2 hours, and then we are done with this.
I'm committed to have them delivered. So let me go to and then make sure that they are properly prepared. Kidale, how long? Yeah? Okay, so Chair, today is Tuesday. Huh?
The issue that you did not answer from Salasia is, why are you preferring to use KNTC?
We are not using KNTC, Chairman. We are using NCPB. So KNTC is not anywhere near this story. The first time, immediately this administration came in place, is when that story, KNTC didn't procure fertilizer for us, but then we later said this is purely an agricultural function and they have no business, and there was agreed that we still deal with our issues of fertilizer. So we'll endeavor to make sure that by close of business on Thursday, you'll have the documents sent. And I will really want to ask you to consider calling us in the event there is any matter that is not satisfied by the production of documents, then we can come. But the documents presented to you by K and by KEPS, and the documents that we give you, if there is any discrepancy, there is no problem. But at times, when you see government agencies together, they would want just to be protecting themselves, and they would not want to sit in such a meeting because it can end up being very untainted. Because, Chair, let us see how we manage. In any case, the matter is with the ministry. They have done their work in terms of tests. By the way, I have not even seen those results. Even as I sit here, we are trying to argue on issues that I have not been served with from that end. So that's why I'm asking, please, because you know how if I am to you, let me go look at the documents. I'll come and tell you, even if it means calling a meeting in camera, then we can do it, because there is nothing that we really cannot be able to agree on. It is not only maize that is under that definition. So the maize farmer, the bean farmer, the Ndengu farmer also requires to be looked at. We have already spent enough money on the acquisition of maize. Tomorrow we are going to release some more money. We have some money that is come to buy the maize, so there's no problem. But assure your farmers that if, for example, there is short, there is a supply of exchequer funds to pay, they can as well indulge us in a week or two as we negotiate with you people for Treasury to give us money. However, if we had like 5-10 billion, we will not have a problem. But we committed to pay farmers within 72 hours. You find that there is some bit of sluggishness. We are slow because we also don't want you to mobilize farmers to come and sing or at the NCPB reports asking for their money. So we are trying to manage these things. So by Thursday, we will be paying farmers. So, and those that are willing, they can have the maize deposited. We can negotiate with the Treasury. When we know so many farmers have brought in their maize, their beans, then we'll be able to pay them. Otherwise, we are committed. And you see, that is what really has brought confidence with the farmers, because when you go out there, Chairman, maize is going at 2,700 to 3,600. So farmers are complaining the maize has become cheap. But we are saying, you know, we committed to bring the cost of living down. So the cost of living coming down is simply able to access food at low prices. So we are succeeding in that area. But at the same time, government has put in money really to guarantee the farmer for at 4,000 shillings. So we are trying. So next phase, we'll see what we can do, or what we can even do to ensure that equilibrium is maintained, because it really requires a serious balancing act. And I'm happy that you see when there is no noise now, and food is down, dollars come down, petrol has come down. You know, they are all parameters of an improved economy, and life end being quite good. So you can even buy a fuel on gasoline, because it is not expected that more petrol will go up again. Thank you.
More radio, 88.2 FM. We are in charge.